the innovation in technology, R&D, particularly microgrids, can make a difference in real time in a place like Alaska. And Senator Cassidy mentioned some of the prices that some are paying in the Northeast and in New York. As we know, we have some communities in our state that pay in excess of $1 a kilowatt hour. These are obviously not sustainable, and so that drives a level of innovation that I think most people don't recognize and don't appreciate. In your written testimony, you described the Rural Energy Initiative. You've indicated how we're utilizing some systems to deal with permafrost, to keep the permafrost cold through these passive systems. You have innovation that is happening within the sewer and water systems, recognizing that in far too many of our communities, we still lack basic sanitation. We don't have running water. We don't have a place where you can flush a toilet, and you've got a washateria that the community uses to bathe and wash their clothes in. So we deal with some pretty tough conditions. Can you just quickly speak to what we're seeing from the Rural Energy Initiative and how, again, through the innovation and the pioneering that we're seeing in some faraway spaces, oftentimes working with our national labs, how we're working to not only reduce the cost of energy, but improve the lives of people. Because when you have safe drinking water, when you have the ability to just stay warm in your house that isn't filled with mold and contributing to respiratory issues, what it means for a family.
Sure, thank you for your question. I think Alaska is something of a national lab for these innovative technologies around energy, the high penetration of renewables into microgrids, which doesn't seem like it's a close relation, but as the deployment of renewables on this particularly solar PV on rooftops of businesses or homes gets more and more pervasive within the system, the physics behind the substation at a distribution level look a lot like an isolated microgrid in a rural community in Alaska. And so we have, as a state and as energy leaders in the state and researchers, have done a lot of research around the integration and high penetration of a variety of renewables. Not just wind, not just solar, but heat pumps, hydrokinetics, micro wind, which is, I think, a little bit different, geothermal, and also storage. And I think within that space we have two communities that stand out at a larger scale for doing things that are sort of unheard of and unthought of at some level. One is Kodiak is effectively a 100% renewable electric utility, Kodiak Electric Association. Now that, I recognize, requires a unique set of circumstances and driven in part by the economics of being otherwise a diesel-reliant community. And so they have a large hydro resource, but they also have 9 megawatts of wind, and they have also had to bring on 2 different forms of electric storage in order to make this whole system work. The other is Cordova, which is a little bit smaller, but they have a 100% buried distribution and transmission grid, which is sort of unheard of also. And I think that as you have these more dramatic climate change weather events, the resilience of a completely buried distribution system is quite different and quite a bit more resilient and reliable for the community. So we are doing a lot of interesting things, and we do have a lab in Fairbanks at the Alaska Center for Energy and Power at the University of Alaska Fairbanks that does a lot of research, primary research with these kind of balance of plant and other technologies that are around the energy technology itself. So I think we have an applied lab in Alaska in both a formal lab sense as well as in rural communities where kind of the desperation of the local economic reality drives innovation, and innovation drives the reality of practical applied engineering.
It's well said. We invite everybody to come up.